Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome LeVar Burton.
Denver. Anybody got a book? No? Return of the Dapperman.
The artist is here.
And the artist is here. In this room?
No.
Oh.
Maybe.
My
Fellowship of the
eyes are
Ring.
terrible. I didn't read the visor. What does it say?
The Fellowship of the Ring.
The Fellowship of the Ring! What's it about?
You know, small people.
And you have a Reading Rainbow book. You have the story of Reading Rainbow. I gotta come here. I gotta sign that.
Oh, Michelle got one.
What's your name?
Valerie.
Valerie. A traditional spelling?
Yes. That's giving me a lot to my class.
Are you a teacher? Stop! Valerie, my mother, was a teacher. And so, I have a very special place in my heart for teachers. Hey, everybody! Did you hear? Reading Rainbow's coming back! This has been pretty much, aside from when my children were born and when I got married, the most incredible 2 weeks of my life. And it's all because of you. Seriously. This little Kickstarter thing we started, who knew? No, seriously, we never expected in our wildest imaginings that this would happen. Most Kickstarters are 30 days. Our campaign runs for 35 days because we figured if we needed that little extra push at the end to get us and to have raised our goal in 11 hours before dinner on the first day. Pretty extraordinary. So let me tell you what it's all about, if I can. The Reading Rainbow app has been on the iPad and the Kindle Fire for 2 years. 2 years next week. But that's only 2 platforms, right? The app is a library of books, hundreds of books, and video field trips. Video field trips with LeVar, just like the original television series. How many of you watched Reading Rainbow growing up? Any Star Trek fans in the audience? Alright, so how many of you saw the Reading Rainbow episode where we went behind the scenes of Star Trek? ago, we launched the app. Hundreds of books and hundreds of video field trips. And it's working. Just like the television series back in the 80s and the 90s, we are using the current technology of the day to get kids to read. Kids are coming to the Reading Rainbow app and reading at last count about 184,000 books a week. There isn't a bricks and mortar library on the planet that could deliver 184,000 books a week to kids. This digital technology is how we revolutionize the way we educate our children going forward. I genuinely believe that. So, being only on 2 platforms, the whole idea for raising money on Kickstarter was to expand our footprint, to get to universal access. So the first $1 million will get us on the web. Woohoo! Right? Only 1/3 of the people in America have an iPad or a Kindle Fire. 97% of our families are connected to the World Wide Web. And I think they all live at her house. You must have a lot of bandwidth, lady. And of course, Reading Rainbow was incubated in the PBS system, and so it is very important to us to be able to give the product away where schools can't afford it. So the first $1 million gives us the opportunity to give the Reading Rainbow product for schools. That was the other part of the Kickstarter raise, to develop a product specifically for classrooms. Teachers love Reading Rainbow. Am I right? Valerie? Back me up, girl! Right? But the Reading Rainbow app is designed for families. You can have 5 profiles on it. Teachers need a product where they can track the reading progress of 30. How many kids do you have in your classroom now, right? 26, right? You want to be able to track the progress of all 26 of your students, don't you? You want lesson plans, right? You want all the bells and whistles that we can possibly give you so that you can use the Reading Rainbow product at the point of purchase where kids are learning and making the decision as to whether or not they're going to be readers for life or not every day in the classroom, right? That's what the Kickstarter was all about, y'all. That's what you have done. You have enabled us to begin the process of universal access and, most importantly, get a product, a Reading Rainbow product in the schools. Now, as we have raised more than $1 million, and I didn't check it all today, but yesterday we reached a milestone of $3.7 million. But we're not done. We have, I think, 18 or 19, 18, I think today, 18 days to go in the campaign. July 2nd. You do the math, I'm a words person. July 2nd, the campaign ends, and if we can get to $5 million in the next couple of weeks, that means we will be able to then port the Reading Rainbow product to mobile. Who's got a mobile phone? To Android. Anybody on the Android? Gaming consoles. How many of our kids are consuming their product on the Xbox or the PlayStation? Right? Universal access. Every child, everywhere. That's what the Kickstarter is all about, and that's what you're helping us do. I so appreciate you. So give yourselves a hand. So, any questions?
If you have a question, there's a microphone right there, and a little bit further back in the other aisle. Go ahead and start lining up, and we will try to fit in as many of you as possible.
We will answer as many questions as we possibly can.
Or we'll just, answer one question and make it awesome. This side.
I guess I'll go first. As you probably know, Denver Comic Con benefits Comic Book Classroom, which helps.
I just found out about this. Okay, so let me see if I can get this right, okay? So there's a nonprofit here in Denver called Comic Book Classroom. And this con is 3 years old. And every year of the con so far, it is donated a part of the proceeds to this Comic Book Classroom program.
Correct.
Looks like I picked a good weekend to be in Denver.
Actually, this con wouldn't exist without Comic Book Classroom.
Well, explain that to me.
The organizers of Denver Comic Con, I was just talking to the director this morning, decided to create Denver Comic Con to specifically benefit Comic Book Classroom.
And so the program actually uses comic books to encourage
promote
kids to read.
Yes.
What a great idea.
So my question was, how do you see an organization like Comic Book Classroom and using comic books as interacting with a program like Reading Rainbow?
I think they go hand in hand. Look, people ask me all the time, how do I get my kid to read? I say, number one, how often do you read in front of your kid? Right? My mother read a lot to us when we were kids. I have two sisters. My older sister is 5 years older. My younger sister is 3 years younger. Which pretty much means I fought with my older sister until she left the house, and then I turned around and fought with my younger sister. But my mom also read in front of us. My mom is a voracious reader, and I think that is a really important example that we sometimes forget to demonstrate that behavior for our kids. They are sponges, as any parent will tell you, and it's a really important thing. Also, you need to know what your child is passionate about, and then deliver into their hands reading material that is about that passion. If your kid is passionate about comic books, damn it, buy your kid comics.
Okay, let's go to this side.
Okay, LeVar, I had a question for you regarding an old episode of Reading Rainbow.
How old?
All right.
That old, huh?
It's 1983. It's the episode Digging Up Dinosaurs.
Digging Up Dinosaurs, I love that episode! We went to the Jensen National Monument, Dinosaur National Monument in Jensen, Utah. And I buried a time capsule, which I think is still there.
Really? Okay, well, that's actually what I was going to ask you. It was about the time capsule. I was actually curious whether you actually really buried it and what was inside it, because I remember you put some stuff in there, like a can of aerosol and your favorite...
I remember that. Can of aerosol is in there.
Yeah, and you said a copy of your favorite book, which remained kind of mysteriously unnamed. So I was curious what your favorite book is or was.
It was probably a copy of Captain's Courageous, Rudyard Kipling. It's the book that I was reading when I realized I can read.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man. I think that aerosol is probably expired by now. I'm pretty certain.
Hi there. I wanted to say first, I'm a librarian. And
Love librarians. Your name isn't Marion, is it? Really? What is your name?
Emily.
Stop. Marion and Emily. It's like they sound almost alike.
I want to say that the big reason I became a librarian is because I love reading, and the big reason was Reading Rainbow as a kid. And that guy totally stole my question.
What was in the time capsule is your question?
The question, so I'm going to amend it. What is your favorite children's picture book? So I can tell patients coming into my library which one LeVar likes.
I will give you two. Okay? My favorite children's picture book for boys is Enemy Pie, Derek Munson. Hands down, love that book, love that book, love that book. Do you know Enemy Pie? Fantastic, fantastic book. It's got a surprise in it.
What was that again?
Enemy Pie.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, wait! Emily, I was going to give you another one. one that I like recommending to girls by Mary Hoffman called Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace. And Enemy Pie.
You are awesome. Thank you.
So are you.
Back to you, blue shirt guy.
Thank you. Howdy, Mr. Burton.
Howdy.
All right, excellent. So,
Is that something y'all say here in Denver? Howdy.
I might have to run out of the room after admitting this, but I'm a native Coloradan and currently a PhD student at Texas A&M. If there are any Aggies? No.
I think you would be the only one, sir.
It's a lonely existence sometimes. However, I'm a geographer, and I know and experience every day the struggles that people have. And I teach college kids who don't know that the Earth revolves around the sun, or don't know which shapes the states are, and have struggles comprehending why we have weather and things like that. And knowing how inspiring you were to me growing up as a young geographer, and knowing how important all of these different skills, whether it's reading, whether it's knowing spatial skills and a bunch of boring stuff I had to memorize for my PhD comps a couple weeks ago. But how can we make, or how can you make Reading Rainbow a platform or venue for teaching and building all of these different skills and all these holistic abilities that we need that are so closely tied to reading and to having a curiosity? What do you think about that?
I think that, for 31 years we've done one thing incredibly well, which is to try and inspire children to love reading. We don't teach you how to read. Our interest is in you becoming a reader for life. My philosophy is if you do one thing good, keep doing that thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I agree with you when you say that critical thinking and spatial recognition, all of these things are important. All of them are related to literature. I think if we do a good job at what it is we do, the rest will take care of itself.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Go for it.
I was wondering, what did you think of your appearance on The Big Bang Theory?
For the record, I'm actually not here. Donald Glover and I are still being held captive by pirates somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico. So you didn't see me this weekend. I wasn't here. Now, I'm so sad the community is a thing of the past. I thought it was an extraordinary show. And both times I did it, I had an amazing time. I think Donald Glover is one of the most talented human beings. Green Arrow.
So, which was better, Community or Big Bang Theory?
Yes. I'm gonna say yes. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you.
Okay.
We're right by El Dorado.
Makes it sound very special.
It says right there. Oh, El Dorado is the name of the water. That's a little self-serving advertisement.
You have to sell some water. Your turn.
Hi, LeVar. So, as someone who's been inspired and has watched Reading Rainbow growing up, I can say probably with a lot of people here that it was a huge inspiration for me. I actually used to write into the Young Writers competition.
The Reading Rainbow Young Writers and Illustrators Award Contest.
Yes, I actually got like 4th place in the 3rd grade.
You're better than that, I'm sure.
But it's something that inspired me as someone who had kind of a rough childhood growing up. Reading Rainbow is something that taught me that books are an escape, writing was an escape. It inspired me. I'm currently in college to be a teacher. And it's something that just really inspired me, and I think like a lot of people who did it, it really changed, like, and helped them become the people who they are. So I wanted to ask you if there was something specific when you were, growing up that kind of just inspired you to be really passionate about reading or writing or whatever, like reading Rainbow.
That's a great question, and thank you. And the answer is my mother. I'm a Jeep Christian. Whenever I get the opportunity to speak in front of people, I always take advantage of that opportunity to say her name. I am who I am because that woman is the awesome, amazing person that she is. My mother was an English teacher, and in her house, you either read a book or she hit you in the head with one. It's really that simple. She hates when I say that. She does. But it's true. No, it's not. But everything that I have done in the service of children's literacy is in honor of my mother and the love of the written word that she has, that she instilled in me. Plain and simple. Thank you.
Seth, did you get recorded on camera? It stopped after 20 minutes. 20 minutes are up. I'm so sorry.
Seth, you suck!
You had one job. Are you sure? Do you want to type again? Okay, ask your question, please.
So, there seems to be an unwritten rule on the internet about if you create a Pixar, you're subject to certain criticisms, and specifically referencing a Washington Post article that kind of criticized the Pixar.
Kinda.
I really kind of dug in there, but addressed a couple points about Rainbow being a for-profit company.
Yeah.
Doesn't technically address literacy, although I did not agree with that point whatsoever.
Well, let's take these one at a time, shall we?
Well, let's start with the whole Reading Rainbow as a for-profit company as opposed to a non-profit company. What's the specific difference here, and how does it affect Reading Rainbow as a company?
Had the journalist from the Post read the Kickstarter page, ironic, isn't it?
Did you read the thing? Did you watch the video?
It was made quite clear that we are a for-profit company. And content doesn't create itself. It doesn't. And the Reading Rainbow app and all Reading Rainbow related product licenses the books from publishers. Those publishers have a responsibility to pay the authors and the illustrators a little thing called royalties. And I don't blame them for wanting to get paid for their intellectual property. So, as a company that is taking that IP and converting it into digital assets, taking the PDFs and digitizing them and creating a storytelling experience. Every book in the Reading Rainbow app is narrated. I read 12 to 15% of the titles in the service, and I've handpicked the other storytellers. Every book is a storytelling experience. There's music in some, sound effects in others, and voiceover in all of them. It is a storytelling experience. Content doesn't create itself, and it doesn't cost nothing. And by the way, a subscription to the Reading Rainbow app costs $5 a month, okay? It's $10, or if you buy 6 months at a clip, it's $29.99. That's $5 a month for unlimited access to hundreds of digital books and hundreds of video field trips starring me! You can spend more than $5 on a single digital book. If you want a bound book for your kid, you're looking at $12 to $15. I think it's a bargain, okay? Now, to the point that Reading Rainbow doesn't teach kids to read, like I said, no, we don't. And No Child Left Behind was a governmental policy that forced us into a choice. Teaching kids how to read or instilling in them a love of the written word. It's not an easy choice, but the choice was made. Reading Rainbow, when it was on television, was the most used television resource in our nation's classroom. Back me up here, Valerie. All right? Right? So, the notion that I'm somehow trying to jumpstart a failed enterprise pisses me the hell off.
Oh snap. Shots fired.
Anything else?
That actually, that was perfect. It's just for the record, that was on your side.
Oh,
The opportunity to address those criticisms publicly.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Next question, please.
Hello, Mr. Burton.
Hello.
I also work for a library here in Denver, and I was curious if your Reading Rainbow Kickstarter is going to have any room for libraries.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
The more money we raise, the more we're going to be able to do. Absolutely. Look, if you have no financial wherewithal in your family to access these very engaging technologies, where's your child more likely than not going to be able to access them? Either in school or in the library. And that's the truth. So yes, we are after universal access. We want the Reading Rainbow product to be able to follow you, device agnostic, platform agnostic, with your content following you from device to device in a seamless fashion. That's the goal. That's our dream. That's what we're going to do.
It's wonderful. Thank you so
You
much.
bet. You bet.
I like your shirt, so you get to ask the next question.
I work for Aurora Public Library, and you stole my question. So I was just going to ask if you were going to have it for our library. So thank you again.
Go for it.
I grew up watching Reading Rainbow, and
How old are you?
I am 11.
I love that
now.
about you. Love that about you.
And when I heard that you were bringing it back, I was so excited. And I want to know how you felt when you found out how much money you raised to bring it back.
When we hit $1 million on the first day, it was pretty emotional. It was such a surprise, and I cried. And I've cried at least 3 or 4 times a day. Every day since then. It has been amazing, the outpouring of love and support for the brand. We have, as some of the reports, we have picnics or lunches or dinner with LeVar. There is a restaurant group in Los Angeles called the Patina Group. Very, very swanky joints. And they have volunteered to host and provide food for all of the picnics, all of the lunches, all of the dinners with LeVar free of charge. It's crazy, the generosity that we are experiencing, and it restores my faith in the power of working together. You know, Gene Roddenberry once said that the future that he was envisioning in Star Trek was one where there would be no hunger, there would be no greed, and all of the children would know how to read. And when I hear that, I know we are creating that future right now. We are changing the world one children's book at a time, and we are all a part of that journey. We are all a part of that mission, and it means an awful lot to me. So thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
11. She's 11. So self-possessed. I love that. You are definitely a Reading Rainbow kid.
Hi there.
Hi.
So looking back on my Reading Rainbow experience, what amazes me most of all is the incredible quality and diversity that are in the books, and those kind of books that I wouldn't have been exposed to or else interested in otherwise. And so I guess my question is, how do we continue to ensure that kind of diversity and quality that we expose our children to at a younger age?
You know, one thing you can do to really really help with the diversity issue is if you are a reader of books, please inform the publishers, the publishing houses that you read, that you want to see more diversity in the pages of those novels that you read. I'm a huge science fiction fan, and Gene Roddenberry's vision of the future was really one of the first I encountered that represented me. When I was growing up, there weren't an awful lot of heroes in the pages of those science fiction novels who looked like me. Star Trek was hugely important in helping me develop a positive self-image because Michelle Nichols' presence on the bridge of the Enterprise meant that when the future came, there was going to be a place for me. So to have grown up and become a member, a part of that storytelling ethos, I have no words for how important that is in my life. So let the publishers know. Okay?
All right. I'm hoping to go into publishing, so good.
Good. Yes, well, when you get there, remember this conversation. Okay, yes, do. Thank you.
Next question. Hi. I can either ask you a serious question or I can ask you possibly one of the dumbest things you've ever been asked.
Oh my goodness, please ask me one of the dumbest things.
It's actually a bit more of a challenge. I am a professional rock, paper, scissors player, and I was wondering if I could challenge you to a round of rock, paper, scissors.
Well, that doesn't actually qualify as a dumb question. So, from here, rock, paper, scissors. Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors. If you shoot on, it's rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Right. Right. I knew that. Did she throw a rock? You had scissors too? Okay, last one. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I had no idea you could do that. That's really what you do? That's awesome. Cool. Okay, you are next.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm trying to do this without crying.
Okay. I won't cry if you want.
I watched Reading Rainbow a lot when I was a kid, and then I watched Star Trek. So first you were teaching me how to love reading and love learning, and then you were like this. You were smart, you were kind, and you were a badass at the same time. I didn't see it very often when I was a kid. I didn't think I did anyway. But my family had a lot of trouble getting us educated. I didn't technically go to school until in 8th grade. But when I got to school, even though I had like a 2nd grade math level, I had a college level reading. And I loved learning. So when I got, even though I was 2nd grade in math, I was able to graduate with my class in high school. And I really feel like you're partially responsible for that.
You're responsible for it, and I like to think that maybe I helped a little.
Was that excuse me? No. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I am going to cry.
All right, so when you were talking about...
Nice robe. Come on, Luke.
All right. Okay, you mentioned during your introductory speech that Reading Rainbow was nurtured in the PBS program and everything like that. I was just curious, considering there were so many instructional shows, educational shows on PBS, including a few that, other than Reading Rainbow, really cultivated the love of books. Did you ever coordinate with any of them? Like, did you ever help out with the production of Wishbone or something like that?
No. But I did go and visit Fred in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood once. And that was That was awesome. Thank you.
She's not sure who's going to follow her, but not going to her report. Anyway, hi. I work at Colorado State University and
Golden Buffaloes?
no, the Rams. I'm also still pursuing my first degree. I'm not a Buffalo. And I promised my boss that if I had the chance, I would extend our thanks and gratitude to you for all that you've done for literacy and all that you continue to do and all you will do in the future, because those readers are our future students and the future of the world. So thank you.
Thank you.
Go for it. We have, just so everyone knows, we have about 7 minutes left. I know. I'm sorry. I had to say it.
You said earlier that the most important thing that parents can do with their children is to read. Not all of us are fortunate enough to grow up in a household where they happen a lot. In my household, there was a lot of helping. Fortunately, my parents, either through accident or choice, had the wisdom to put us in front of the television and watch 2 shows. One of those was Star Trek: The Next Generation, where we saw a vision of what humanity could be. And the other show was Reading Rainbow, where we were taught to learn, where we were taught to love to read, and taught that that was the way to reach that vision that Gene Roddenberry had. And that was really the biggest reason that my brother and sister and I became really big readers. And I just want to thank you on myself, on behalf of my siblings, and on behalf of the other Reading Rainbow readers that couldn't be here, that all of us become lovers of readers, lovers of reading as a handful. So, thank you.
For the record, I think your parents had impeccable taste in television.
This whole panel is making me really emotional. Because stories, they matter, you know. Growing up, I watched Reading Rainbow, and it instilled me a love for reading. And my parents, they read to me every night. Until I was, 16, my parents read to me every night. I could not sleep without reading. Today I'm a writer. And a lot of that has to do with Reading Rainbow and my parents reading to me. And because stories had such an impact on my life, and I think it's so important for parents to read to their children. My question for you is, what did you read to your children, and what is your favorite children genre?
Every night, we stopped reading to Michaela before she turned 16. But I don't think my wife took the baby monitor out of her room until she was 17. So that happened. I used to love to read Goodnight Moon to Mika. We're big in my family of reading aloud to one another. So my wife Stephanie read aloud the Lemony Snicket series with Mika, and then she and I shared the Harry Potter series. So that was all good.
Harry Potter was every night at my house.
Yeah. And my wife and I still read to one another. We love reading books out loud just reading aloud. It's good. You know, and again, television is fantastic. I watch a lot of TV. One of my favorite things to watch on TV is me. No, that's true. But I also advocate family reading time. I'm really advocating this summer that we spend, let's just do the daily 20, y'all, okay? Let's turn the TV off for 20 minutes and everybody grab a book. 20 minutes ain't gonna kill us. All right? Let's do the daily 20 this summer. 20 minutes a day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To the back. We have 5 minutes.
All right, so I grew up watching Reading Rainbow and Star Trek.
I'm shocked. How did you make your way into this room?
Now I'm an ESL teacher and I'm getting my master's in reading.
All right.
And I was wondering if you, I know the app looks like the Reading Rainbow looks like it's mostly aimed at elementary students.
Yes.
But I teach secondary students who I think would really enjoy it, and I was wondering if you had any plans to try to aim at secondary students.
The product as is perfect for ESL students of every age. It doesn't matter. So I highly recommend it. Every day of my life people come to me and tell me that Reading Rainbow and other shows on PBS are the reasons that they learned English as proficiently as they did. So please, you don't need to wait for us to develop a special product. You knew that. Yeah, I'm really, and look, we are 2 years old, this company. We are just getting started. We have a vision for quality, enriching, educational entertainment for children and their families from now until the end of time. Thank you.
Next.
Hello. Like many before me, I would thank you for in part teaching me, the importance of reading and leading to all those petty fights with my family over who gets to read the Harry Potter release, and now having my mind wrecked over the Song of Ice and Fire. So thank you. I would like to ask, what are you currently reading or recently read that you might recommend?
I just started rereading my favorite science fiction author, Octavia Butler.
Wow.
And I'm 3/4 of the way through Donna Tartt's Goldfinch. The Goldfinch. Wow. Anybody read The Goldfinch? Simply wow. It is an amazing book. Amazing. So yeah, that's summer reading for me is really about distraction. I've always got some science fiction going. There's a series of books that are edited by Gardner Biswa, and they are compilations of the best in science fiction, short fiction, every year. I think they're up to the 33rd annual or something like that. And I've always got one of those open. I love short fiction for bedtime because I can get through one. If not tonight, I'll finish it tomorrow. So I'm a big fan of short fiction.
Thank you. And my mom says hi.
Oh, please tell her I said hello.
Okay, we have 2 minutes, so I think your question is probably last.
I'll try and be super fast. Hi, Mr. Burton. I am Grace.
Hi, Grace.
And you keep talking about the app and the modernization of Reading Rainbow. Is the show coming back? Because I totally thought that was what was happening, and that should happen. Because I would like for my kids one day to be able to watch Reading Rainbow. So do that. That's all.
Grace, what's wrong with the Reading Rainbow app?
Apps are great and modern technology is awesome, but I grew up watching this show after school. It was kind of something very comforting, like, macaroni and cheese. And I don't know why you can't bring the show back.
Well, I'm not saying that we won't, but here's my point, Grace. If you want to reach today's kids, you need to be on today's technology. Today's kids use television as one screen during the course of any given day. And generally when they're watching television, they've got another screen going, right? So our mission at Reading Rainbow is to be effective. We want to have an impact on kids. And to do that, you've got to be at the point of purchase. Now, as I said, I'm not saying we won't ever come back to television. I'm just saying that at this now moment, it's not our focus.
That's fair, but I will say, I used to be an education reporter in Chicago, and there are kids who are poor who don't have these apps and access to them.
That's why we're putting it in the schools.
Okay, but I love it all. Thank you.
Thank you.
To those of you who are still standing in line, we
Yes.
have to cut it off.
My apologies. And there's a furry back there.
Wow.
There are two. And what are you reading? I can only guess. If you didn't get a chance to have your question answered, I am sorry. That's all. I'm sorry.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Let's give a round of applause to LeVar.